Active weather coverage here on the Weather Network. It is a Wednesday, June the 4th. Mark Robinson joining the program. We're talking about fire, smoke, and storms. We'll begin with the thunderstorms. And you're in Guelph now, Mark, but you may not be staying in Guelph today. And why is that?
Well, Chris, we've got some storms potentially coming, and this makes me very happy. Maybe not some people in the Sarnia to London area, or maybe people that are heading home along the 400 later on today. Those are two areas of concern that I am watching for. Now, I'm looking at heading down to that Sarnia over to London region, because it does look like the storms will be a little bit more fierce down there. But of course, that's a whole line of storms that will be affecting right along a whole chunk of southern Ontario, and that's that 400 as well. As people are heading home, you may be running through some rain, so just be aware of that. But if you are in that Sarnia to London area, you may have to be aware of a little stronger storms down there in the late afternoon.
Okay, so thank you for focusing some of the location. Now, you mentioned these line of storms. So within these line of storms, what are some of the things that you're watching for specifically? Let's talk about some of the threats.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that we're watching for with this one is wind gusts, strong winds, bringing down tree branches, that sort of thing. That's probably the biggest danger we're looking at. Maybe some big hail in there as well. Got a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, which can fuel the storms, get those tops really high, and of course, when you get those really high tops, you can get some good hail production. So we'll see what happens with that. Not quite enough spin at this point to say that we're going to see anything like a tornado. But we may see a few, spinning storms, supercell storms down in that Sarnia to London area. And of course, that can give you the strong wind gusts and large hail. So that's the kind of things we're watching for. And of course, if the storms sort of go along the same line for a long period of time, we are looking at the potential for flooding. So all of those sort of in the mix today.
All right, well, very succinctly put there, Mark. And then lastly, can smoke, because we know there's so much smoke being generated from these wildfires in Western Canada, and this has been such a huge story, obviously, but we know the smoke doesn't just stay to the source regions. They get wafted in from the winds aloft. Does wildfire smoke impact or affect storms?
Yeah, they absolutely can. I was talking with the director of the Canadian Severe Storms Laboratory, Dr. David Sills, a good friend of mine. We had a long discussion about this, and some of the evidence that he's found is that the smoke doesn't have an effect, say, on the amount of precipitation that's falling, but what it does have an effect on is how strong the storms get, and that's not surprising, given that it can, put a little haze in the upper atmosphere, so you're not getting the heating that you would get if you've got a perfectly clear day. So we're not getting the amount of energy we need to really get those storms going. That's sort of the best evidence we've found so far, but the studies are ongoing, and it is sort of fascinating to watch. So smoke, not great for me because I want those strong storms, but maybe great for the farmers who want the precipitation without the strong storms. So it's one of those things where I want it, everybody else doesn't. So that's the way things go sometimes.
Professor Robinson, well done. Okay, so we'll be tracking Mark through the day today. Risk of thunderstorms could even last into tomorrow. Threat of potentially severe weather for the eastern townships of Quebec and possibly northern areas of New Brunswick. And then as we head for the west and towards northern Ontario, widespread poor air quality advisories. In Saskatchewan, 240 wildfires to date. That's over 100 more than the 5-year average thus far. And in Manitoba, 111 wildfires to date, of which 100 have been started by humans. Not necessarily arson, could be some accidental, but we've got to be very vigilant. Thompson and northwards, we've had some rain showers south of there. Watching out for the wind again today.